Hey guys, and a very warm welcome back to my channel. So we are discussing about India and China relations, and this is part 2 of the video. We have already created part 1. If you guys have not watched it yet, just go and watch it, because we are going to continue with the topics from part 1, and I'm hoping to finish off the relationship between India and China. So this is the free UPSC coaching, free UPSC preparation that you guys are looking at, and I'm going to be teaching you from the level of UPSC, which is going to be helpful for your both your prelims and mains. In both the areas, it is going to be very helpful for you guys. So this is a completely free preparation because we are just starting, and if you liked it, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel, okay, and share it with your friends also. And this is a completely free, so you can just subscribe and motivate us, okay. So I would like all of you to subscribe to our channel, please. And now let's begin with our discussion. So this is the part 2, and I'm hoping to finish all of the discussions related to India and China in this part only. So we'll be picking up a very important topic of string of pearls that I've already told you that we are going to discuss in depth. So I'm just going to take up that topic of string of pearls, मोतियों की माला, string of pearls, okay. So this is the topic that we are going to be discussing in right now. So when we talk about the string of pearls, so I have already shown you a map in the previous video, okay. I would like to show that to you again. So this is a map, and let me change my pointer, okay, let it be. So this is India, okay, and this is our Indian Ocean here, okay. Now all of these big red dots you guys can see, okay, all of these dots are basically the ports that are created by China, okay. So these ports are created by China. These are like the series of ports, and if you guys can see, like its shape is something like a string of pearls, okay. All of these ports are like pearls, and all of the connection of China between these ports, okay, it is like a string, and hence it is known as string of pearls. So if you guys can see that there are like China has surrounded its ports all throughout the Indian Ocean, all around the India, okay. So when we see this, okay, so it comes to our mind that what could be the strategy behind it. So of course control is the very important thing that China is having an expansionist policy, and all of the things that it do is to control and expand. So this is for China, in order to improve its presence in Indian Ocean, improve its trade in the Asian countries with the other Asian countries, and strategically also it is very important part for China. And China has been able to establish many of the ports, and China is looking forward to more ports, okay. So it is a policy of China, and this term of string of pearls, this term was basically suggested by a writer, a very famous writer, whose name, this term was coined in 2005, and originally it was coined by Alan Hamilton, okay. He is a very Hamilton, he's a very popular writer, and he is the first one to coin this term, this presence of China ports, and it appears to be like a string of pearls, okay, this series of ports, okay. So China developed, now if you guys can see, Chittagong in Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Maldives, Seychelles, Tanzania, Kenya, Djibouti, Oman, Pakistan, okay. So these are all the all the places where China has established its port. And also, if you guys can look at that angle, so there is a military angle also here. Okay, so there could be a military angle also. Okay, so military angle as coined by many of the critics and experts. The development of these ports have a very a military angle also. So this could be to peel off our neighbors, India's neighbors, from us. Okay, so what could be the China's interest in Indian Ocean? Surrounding all the Indian Ocean, they have created these ports. So there would be an interest also for China. Okay, so Indian Ocean is like a new Silk Route. Okay, the Silk Route concept of China, where China early when China used to trade with Europe, so it was through a road, okay, from where Chinese silk was carried to Europe for trade, and this particular route was what was known as Silk Route. Okay, so in today's, this was a complete land to land route, but this particular string of pearls is like China's new Silk Route. Okay, which is from both land and water, and land water land, and this, but both of them are involved. So this is like a new Silk Route for China, that is basically for trading purpose. China is having this Indian Ocean is China's interest. Also the Malacca Strait. Okay, if you guys can see here, this particular part, so this arrow is pointing here. So this particular narrow area of water, if you guys can see, this is what is known as Malacca Strait, and China is here. So the only route for China to trade in this part is only going through this Malacca Strait, and this is a very very narrow strait. Okay, and it is like only the width is around only 1.5 kilometer long. Okay, so they are worried if US or if some other country if blocks this route, so all of their trade is going to go in vain. Okay, so they wouldn't be able to trade, and the most of the economy of China is, the China's economy, fastest growing economy, is all because of the trade, of course. Okay, so if there, this is a very sensitive region for China, and if this region is blocked, then all of their trade is going to, there would be no trade for China. So China is very worried about this. So they wanted to have their alternate areas also, they wanted to have alternate routes apart from Malacca. Okay, so this is their intention. Also, of course, encircling India would be another factor, but this is a kind of a secondary factor, as to say, but of course it is one of the factors that it would help China to gain control. So now let us talk about what is India's response. Okay, India's response to this string of pearls. India's response to the string of pearls. So India's responses, first of all, there is a Project Mausam. Let me remove all of this first, and let me change the ink to black. Okay, so there is a project that is known as Project by India, that is known as Project Mausam, MAUSAM, Mausam. Okay, so this particular project is there to reinvent the relations with the littoral countries of Indian Ocean, of course the countries which are surrounding the Indian Ocean, to improve our relationship with them. This is the Project Mausam by India. Okay, so if you can see, we have, like, this is the coastline of India. Okay, so we have around 7,500 kilometer plus of coastline India is having. Okay, and there are many of the ports construction program that were also going on by India. By India also we are having more construction program. One of them being Sagarmala project. Sagarmala project is also going on by India. Okay, then we are already developing a tri-service command in Andaman and Nicobar. Okay, in Andaman and Nicobar we are creating a tri-services command to have an eye on the sea lanes up to Malacca Strait. So if you guys can see here, here it is Andaman. Okay, so we are, it is very very close to Malacca Strait. Okay, so we are developing our tri-services command here so that we could have a better supervision of the Malacca Strait. Okay, so this is a point. Then another point is Sukhoi MKI 30. Sukhoi MKI 30 are placed on Andaman and Nicobar, has been placed in Andaman and Nicobar. Also, we are developing our own aircraft carriers, okay, which are known as Vikram Aditya. Aditya. We are developing them also, okay. And we are trying to convert our Indian Navy into blue water navy. That is meaning Indian Navy to blue water navy, meaning that we are training our Indian Navy to carry out more of the deep sea operations. Okay, not the surface but the deep sea operations. So this is known as blue navy. Okay, so there are many of the aircrafts we are deploying for air supervision, like C-17, C-170, okay, and we have like P-81 also. So these are the certain aircrafts which are there for surveillance and a kind of a mission of surveillance. Also, there is a completely dedicated satellite system for communication, for the Navy communication, that is known as GSAT 7. We are also having our radar facilities in places like Seychelles, okay, in the places like Seychelles and Mauritius and all. Okay, so we are having our satellite systems there as well, and we can use our soft powers also for countering China in Indian Ocean. All that we talked about earlier is all of the hard powers that we are having. Okay, so this was all about our initiative of string of pearls, and I've given you an in-depth explanation based on that. I hope you have written your notes. Now we are going to discuss another very very important relation. We are going to discuss another very important issue, that is known as BRI. That is full form being Belt and Road, ROAD, Road Initiative. Belt and Road Initiative. Okay, so this is a very very important initiative which is carried on by China, and it is literally all around the globe that they are trying to establish their Belt and Road, and many of the countries has agreed also for this particular proposal. and they have already started their work also, but India is apprehensive about their policies. Of course, we know how China is, so we are, basically we are suspicious of the debt. What am I? Just wait a minute, just give me a minute. Okay, so we are basically apprehensive about the debt trap. So the debt trap is what is a warning we are giving to other countries, that China could lead the countries into debt trap. Okay, they would invest, and when they would ask back about about whatever the money they have to give, so it like, if there are poor countries, okay, the amount of money China is spending, they would never be able to make it up to that. Okay, so they would come in under debt trap, and somewhere it is going to, again, China is going to gain its control in order to, as a negotiation for the debt trap, they are going to take some part of territory and going to establish control some important parts of territories which could be against India, which could be used against India. So debt trap is a policy, it is a term which is given to the increased amount of debt that the country couldn't pay back. So this is what is India apprehensive about. So we are completely opposing this BRI initiative by China. Okay, we will now let us look at in depth what it is all about, and how are we opposing it, and what are we asking the other countries. We are giving other countries also a warning sign. Okay, so so this is an ambitious project, of course, by China to connect itself to Africa and Europe by a land-sea route. Okay, so just give me a minute, let me show this to you through map. Just give me a minute. So as you guys can see a map here. Okay, so this is all of the route which has been done till now under Belt and Road Initiative. If you guys can see it, this is the route. So this is the land route. The red colored is the land route, and the blue colored is the water route that China has completed till now. Okay, and this particular Belt and Road Initiative is to connect Africa and Europe. So if you guys can see in this map, yeah, let me go to the highlighter. I think, yeah, so if you guys can see that, so as you guys can see that this is the Xi'an, okay, and this is Funzhou. Okay, so these are the part of China. Okay, and the trade, the road is going from, this is the blue colored line is the Maritime Silk Road route, and this is the road that goes to Venice in Europe. Okay, and similarly this from Xi'an, only the land route, it goes to Venice. Okay, and you can see that it is this blue Maritime Silk route is also connecting to Mombasa and Djibouti. Okay, and these are in Africa. This is Africa. Okay, so it is going into Africa and Europe. So this is from China. Okay, so China is, through these Belt and Road Initiative, is improving its connectivity for the purpose of trade as well as other strategical importance. These roads are being converted. Of course, if they are constructing a road, so of course in future if they have to go for certain if they have to use it for other strategies, so they are going to use it, of course. Okay, so you guys can see, and another, if you guys can see here, this gray colored line. Okay, this is China-Pakistan corridor, and this is China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, CPEC. We are going to discuss about this under India-Pakistan relations, because this is very important. Okay, this is a kind of a deal agreement between Pakistan and China. We are going to talk about it. It is from Gwadar to Kashgar, and Gwadar in Pakistan to Kashgar in and it is going to it is going through the paths of P. Okay, so it is a disputed thing, and India is just very apprehensive about it. We are going to discuss about that also, but for the time being, let us not look at that because it is going to confuse us. I'm just going to remove it. Okay, we are not going to talk about it right now. We are not going to talk about China-Pakistan corridor. We are just going to talk about China's connectivity to Africa and Europe. Okay, so this is what was BRI. Okay, what is BRI? And it is a very it is a very important project. Okay, it is a very important project for China. Oh, it's very wait. Yeah, so it is a very important project. This BRI, Belt and Road Initiative, is very important for China and all of the countries which we saw here. Okay, all of these countries which are in between, all of these all of these countries have agreed for BRI. Okay, so this is the thing. So it is basically one of a very big project of around $1 trillion. $1 trillion project. This is a $1 trillion project, so you can just see the intensity. Okay, and it is claimed that in 2000, okay, so it was basically for the first time ever it came in 2013, this initiative by the President of China, Xi Jinping. Okay, he first in 2013 talked about this BRI. Okay, while talking about the maritime Silk Road and while addressing the Indonesian parliament. So it would according to China, this would increase their economic growth. Okay, this is going to increase their economic growth. Of course, with more of the trade opportunities, it is going to increase their economic growth. And this is the whole belt. Okay, so why BRI? That is a question. Okay, now let us explore that question. Why BRI? And I'm just going to change my color as well. So let us discuss why BRI is important. Okay, so according to China, China is export oriented economy. Okay, it is highly exporting country. Okay, so after 2013 and 15 there was a global stagnation in their economy. Okay, so they wanted to use, there is a global stagnation. The import export was less, and the export was less, basically, not the import. The export was less, and because of this less export, there was a stagnation in their economy, and they were having some increased amount of surplus of their products. What am I writing? So they were having surplus. Okay, they were having surplus. Okay, surplus production was there with them. So in order to just increase their export even more, this idea of Belt and Road Initiative came, and this is a very important thing, mind you, because this could be asked. Okay, they want to use all of their forex reserve for exporting, for increasing their export. Okay, so Xi Jinping, of course, the policy of Xi Jinping is to have a China-led world order. Okay, because they want China-led world order, not US-led. Okay, so they have a dream of China-led world order. Okay, so this is their dream, and they wanted to have more influence and presence. Okay, and employment, of course, for Chinese companies are going to increase. Okay, and so far they have involved like more than 70 countries, 70 countries. So it is a big achievement. Okay, so they have involved more than 70 countries, 70 plus countries. Okay, and road, rail, seaport, power plants, telecommunication, and many other things are involved in this project. So it is not just about roads, it is road, railways, seaports, power plants, telecommunication. You can just see the intensity of the project. And there was a second, just recently there was a second Belt and Road Initiative Forum that happened. Second BRI Belt and Road Initiative Forum meeting that happened, that was held, the most recent one held in 2019 in Beijing. Okay, it happened in Beijing. Okay, so it happened in Beijing. Then of course this is going, you know, the increase in export is going to revive Chinese economy. So for that they have involved more than 17 countries that I already told you. Okay, and in, you know, in this particular second BRI forum, okay, in this particular forum, more than, you know, out of 9 out of 10 Asian countries also participated. 9 out of 10 of the Asian countries. ASEAN is an organization which is known as Association of Southeast Asian Nations. Okay, so this is the full form. This is an organization of Southeast Asian countries, and 9 out of 10 of these countries participated in this second BRI forum. Okay, and 12 European countries also. Okay, 12 European countries also participated, and you know, the heads of they are the heads of government. Who are the heads of government? Either president or prime minister, according to their own, you know, policies. They are going to be, they participated in this second BRI in 2019 in Beijing. Okay, and also there were 5 African heads of government also participated. Okay, so 5 head of government of Africa also participated. And in South Asia, only Pakistan and Nepal. From South Asia, only Pakistan and Nepal participated. Of course, Nepal was under, you know, just recently in 2021 only, the president KP Sharma Oli, he just you know, he just went down, not on his own, but because of the pressures. Of course, we will discuss all of that in India-Nepal relation. And he just stepped down, and now there is a new Nepali prime minister. But at the time, in around 2019, so in 2019, Nepal was under KP Sharma Oli, and KP Sharma Oli is a big supporter of China. Okay, so Pakistan and China both participated, and from East Asia only, and only from East Asia only Mongolia participated. Okay, so Mongolia participated. So now let us look at its current situation and analysis about where it is at the current point of time. Where is this BRI? Okay, so let us talk about the analysis of BRI. Okay, so first of all, there is a substantial slowdown of implementation of this BRI. Okay, there is a substantial slowdown of the implementation of this BRI currently. Okay, secondly, it was an overall response of slowing down of course, if implementation is less, so the Chinese economy is also going to be slowing down. Okay, it is directly related. And you know, there was a, if we are going to talk about the consensus of 2020, till 2020 there was a total investment, if you know, you look at the if it is a $1 trillion investment, and currently till 2020 it is just around around $75 billion investment that happened. Just this much investment has happened. Okay, sorry. This is in 2019. Okay, this is not in 2020. This is in 2019 of $75 billion investment. And if we talk about the consensus of 2020, so it has been around $337 billion. Okay, so you guys can see the aim was of $1 trillion. Okay, and still only even till 2020 only $337 billion has happened. So of course there is a slowing down of implementation. Okay, then of course another point which is of big suspicion for China and India is apprehensive about it is its BRI was not properly defined. There, what it is all about, this is not defined properly by China. Okay, and there is a big secrecy around the funding pattern. Okay, how is the funding pattern, where are the funds coming from? Okay, many critics say that this will lead to the term which I told you about earlier, a very important term of called as debt trap. So this is a very important term. It could lead to debt trap. All of this secrecy around this. Okay, all of the funding patterns are not revealed. So many of the countries are still endorsing this project. Okay, like Italy and Rome, they are actually spreading this project and they are endorsing this project to other countries. But still, after knowing this apprehension, they are doing it. But some countries are also apprehensive about it. Okay, so there is no transparency or clarity, or there is not any kind of complete a set of rules to be followed, and there is no rules and all, and things are very vague. And despite it being a global project, China still wants to do it bilaterally. European Union, India, etc. wanted to be multilateral engagement. Okay, but China is doing it bilaterally. Other countries also want to put in their investments into BRI. Okay, but China says no, only I'm going to do it bilaterally with other countries. Okay, so now let us talk about the reservations of India. Reservation means suspicions of India on this on this BRI. What are our suspicions on this BRI suspicions? Okay, let us talk about our reservations on BRI. So first of all, India is a very vocal critic of BRI. We did not participate in the BRI forum summits that happened. Okay, so a critical vocal, and we didn't participated for the summit. And the reasons being, first of all, CPEC again. So this is CPEC is the China Pakistan Economic Corridor, again a kind of a investment between China and Pakistan. They are establishing, China is establishing connections to Pakistan through a corridor, which you saw here also. This is the corridor. Okay, this from Kashgar, from where is this? Yeah, so from Kashgar to Gwadar. So this is a kind of a corridor, economic corridor, which we are highly apprehensive. If you guys can see it properly, if you guys can see it, so it is passing, this is the Indian Indian territory, and you can see that it is passing through POK. We are going to discuss it in detail also. So this, and apprehensive about, India is apprehensive already about CPEC. Okay, and it is a critical component of BRI as well. CPEC is a critical component of BRI as well, and because it is it is passing from POK. Okay, so we are we are critical about our sovereignty and territorial integrity, and we feel that it has been violated. Okay, because we are still in a disputed place related to POK and LOC. So we feel that our sovereignty has been violated passing through POK. So of course that another thing we talked about is that the terms and conditions of BRI were not clear. Okay, so there is a secrecy and lack of transparency. Funding mechanism is not clear. Okay, these are all our reservations also, and this can lead to, of course, debt trap. Okay, so unsustainable burden for the communities, for the poor countries, let's say. Okay, they wouldn't be able to, you know, just give that back. Okay, they wouldn't be able to revert. Also, you know, it will of course have a very adverse effect on environment also. China is least concerned about environment. They don't care. Okay, and this could lead to environmental issues also. Okay, environmental issues as well. Okay, there are no clear distinction between the Chinese commercial and military. Acha, there is a issue with China. Okay, whatever they do, there is not a clear distinction that, you know, if there is a project, say there is a project that China is wanting to conduct, so that project could be either of two types. Okay, either it could be of military type, or either it could be of like normal commercial purposes. But China merges both of them. Okay, there is no military, no commercial, there is just one project, and they're going to be, they're not clear about if it is a military project or a commercial project. And for BRI also they are not clear. We don't know what they would use it for. Okay, although China's claim is just like Silk Route and all, but you know, we know China's policy of this merging both military and commercial together, so we are apprehensive about that also. Okay, and China's ultimate goal could be political control. We feel that, and India feel that this string of pearl program is just a new name for BRI. Okay, for the string of pearl, the new name is just BRI again. So this is what we feel. Okay, so this is what is the current scenario. Okay, so one thing I would like to tell you here. Okay, if you guys can see, let me see if it is okay. This is for the string of pearl, but let us just for once consider what I'm trying to tell you. Okay, so this is China. Okay, this is China, and here we have Sri Lanka. Okay, so there is a issue related to Hambantota. Let me write it here. H-A-M, Ban, B-A-N, Ban, Hambantota. Hambantota port. So Hambantota port is there in Sri Lanka. Okay, and during the Sri Sena government, when there was Sri Sena government, okay, at that time Sri Lanka said that they wouldn't be, but there was a port that was created by China in Hambantota port. Okay, so Sri Lanka said that they wouldn't be able to, you know, repay the loan. So China then asked them to lease that port for 99 years. Okay, and this is a kind of a debt trap we are talking about. In this way, this is an example of kind of debt trap that could be there. Okay, so this takeover was of course a negative publicity for China, and other countries started to become apprehensive about their intentions. Now let us talk about the final analysis of the complete India-China relationship. Okay, we are going to just complete this topic right now. We are going to now talk about the overall analysis. Just a minute, guys. Yeah, so the overall analysis of India-China relationship, the final analysis. Okay, so after the new Chinese relationship, so there is a new Chinese leadership that is there under Xi Jinping. China under Xi Jinping. Okay, it would okay, so there is a controversy that happened. Okay, so Xi Jinping wanted to be a lifetime president of China. okay, just like Mao said. So he is a very much Maoist policy follower, and Xi Jinping just declared that Xi Jinping not declared, but he would like to be the lifetime president of China. This is what he said. Otherwise, the term is for, I think, around 4 years or 3 years. I have to I have to just read up on that. But the term is a limited term is there for the president, and they have to stand at the post of president just for just that period of term only, and then they have to step down. But Xi Jinping, it has been happening like that only. But now the new president, the current president, not the new, current president Xi Jinping, he is saying that he would like to be the lifetime president. Okay. Then Xi Jinping's policy, all of his policies, they just show a very, very aggressive, they show the very, very aggressive stand. Okay. They take very aggressive positions on various topics. So they are showing the aggressive positions on many of the issues. Okay, so China is showing aggressive policies. On June 2020, okay, let us talk about that also, final analysis. So on June 2020, there is a issue related to LAC in Galwan Valley. We all know many of the soldiers were killed. So they altered the LAC unilaterally, okay, and many critics argue that this change, started after 5 August 2019. Article 30. Some people think that Article 370 removal in Jammu and Kashmir after 5 August 2019, after 370 article was removed, that after that only China has showed aggression on LAC. Okay, like they took over the Indian territory. So many of the critics argue that also, okay, that it might be after removal of 370 from Jammu and Kashmir. Okay, and India is a India vehemently oppose CPEC. Okay, so the issue of CPEC is also there. I'm going to discuss CPEC also in detail while we study about India and Pakistan. Okay, you'll get a more clarity. But it is something similar to BRI. Okay, it is just between China and Pakistan. China is finally convinced that India has moved completely. China is, earlier we had a good relations with China, but now China is convinced that we have moved closer towards US. Okay, and China and US are like competitors. So according to them, we have become a de facto ally of US, and hence they are showing an aggressive stand towards us. Many critics think that our current government's approach with China, as there is like not a proper structure of talk. There is a proper structure that needs to be maintained if you are going for any kind of discussions or negotiations, but there is a direct talks that are happening between our current government, that happened earlier between our current government and Chinese president. So many critics believe that this is not the way, and this is not the way of discussing issues and doing negotiations. It would not be fruitful in any way. And some critics also say that our high levels of visits, like we have visited in 4 to 5 years, we have done 18 rounds. So it's like a high frequency of meetings that happen. So somewhere critics believe that our strategy has been exposed in front of China, because we have done too many levels of meetings, and that too without any proper structure. We just met like that. So that has just been that has not proven good for us. And there is a complete shift in Chinese foreign policy after COVID also. The issue of COVID, Okay, and China feels that this time, in order to they wanted to reorient the global order. Okay, so they wanted to be the new superpower bloc, and they would like to compete with China. No, sorry, with US. China wants to compete with US as well. So they wanted to be a new power bloc. China-led world order. They are dreaming of that. And global economy is also in trouble due to globalization. Okay, so it causes an irreversible damage and crisis. And US has also gone through isolation during the time of Donald Trump, when Donald Trump was in power. So he was not at all not what am I right? He was not at all interested in issues related to all of these trades and bilateral issues and all. He was not that much interested, and somewhere US has went through a stage of isolation during his regime. China feels that this is the global order is at a breaking point, and according to China, they wanted to establish their hegemony. This term we talked about in my first lecture also, if you haven't seen it, so just go and watch it. Hegemony, they wanted to establish their own hegemony. Okay, and some people also call them as salami tactics. China is not seeing India as they are just not seeing them as we have been very close to US, and we have become their ally. So China is just having an aggressive stand towards us. And through their position in LSE, they are somewhere just showing off their muscle powers, and they are saying that they are not going to be counterweighted by, they are not going to be deterred by the Indian counterwave. And China feels that they have more of the room for geopolitical maneuvering. We are also dealing with a different China, especially after pandemic. Okay, after the pandemic happened, the China has become completely different. They have established their economy very well. When the economies of other countries were going down, even the sole superpowers USA's economy is going down, China's economy was rising up. So you can just see we are dealing with a different China now. They wanted to establish a China-led world order. Okay, and what needs to be done now? I think that's the question that I should answer. What needs to be done? So what needs to be done? Okay, first of all, we should remove our domestic politics with the external or international politics. We should create a distinction between both of them. Okay, we should not intermix our domestic and international security strategies. We need to accept the reality. We need to accept the reality. What is the reality? That China is literally being a success at this point of time. Their economy is flourishing, and they are actually moving towards being a superpower. They are moving towards that aim, and we should literally win back our surrounding neighboring countries. That's the way that we could gain even more control. We have to be friends with our neighboring countries. We can use our soft power. We should not use our hard powers, but we should use our soft powers in order to convince them. There is no quick fix solution for China, of course. Okay, but we should, there is a very, very famous line by Dr. Manmohan Singh. He said that there is enough space in this world for both India and China to grow, and we need not be competitor always. So we have to keep that in mind, and we have to accordingly plan our strategies, plan our foreign policies, keeping in mind the China's reality, current reality. So this is what all I need to say about relation between India and China. I think we have completed everything. We did BRI, we did we did string of pearls, we did South China Sea, we completed the history, we okay, a small topic that I would like to take, just a 5 minutes topic, then we're going to be ending this Indian China. We'll be basically completing this. Okay, so now let us talk about our trade relations with China. This is the last topic that I'm going to do, and this is actually the last topic of the entire main topic between India and China relation. Okay, and please do not don't mind the background voice. So the India China bilateral trade. Okay, so till 2020, I think not. Okay, so now let me tell you about the recent trade stats. In 2020, our trade with India China bilateral trade was of around $77.7 billion. Okay, and where India's export to China, let me not talk about it, let me compare this India China. This is the trade between India and China, and the trade between $75.5 billion trade was just done between US and India, between US and India. Okay. So now let me talk to you about this particular one which I was just writing here. So this $77.7 billion trade, okay, out of this $77.7 billion trade, around like, if you see the imports which are, this is the 2020 stats that we are talking about. Okay, and the imports done by India to China, the imports are equal to 58.7. So imports done by China into India, sorry I wrote, let me just remove this. Imports done by China to India is around 58.7. okay, and the exports done by China from India to China, exports done by India to China, this is the import I, and the exports are just around 18.7 billion dollars, okay, which is the export. So you guys can see that there is a trade deficit. If we are going to total it, so it is going to be 77.4. so sorry, this was a $77.4 billion trade, 77. Okay, and you guys can see, if you are going to minus it, so you are going to tell that there is a trade deficit where the import in India is more than export. So this is the condition of trade deficit. Okay, we have a trade deficit condition. If you are going to study economics, so in that you are going to know about this more. But trade deficit is just when the import is larger than the export of a country. So we are under trade deficit with China. Okay. Achha, there are certain concerns. Let me change this pen first of all. Okay, so there are certain concerns related to our trade with China. So we are importing the finished goods from China, whereas we are exporting the raw material. Okay, so what we are importing from China are the finished goods, and what we are exporting to China is a finished good These are the finished goods. And what we are importing from China, sorry, what we are importing are the finished goods from China, and what we are exporting are the raw material to China. Okay, so we can say that there is a, if you will see that, they are using our raw material in order to create a full-fledged finished good. They are using our raw material, they are buying it in cheap pricing and selling it in a higher price to the other places where they would have the increased profit. Also, expert says that an increase in the bilateral trade is not an indication of increase in the warmth of the relationship between the two countries. Okay, and we complain that China is not giving Indian exports enough space to do business in China. Okay, so in China, Indian exports are not given enough space, and we accuse China also of various non-tariff tariff barriers. So there are certain tariff barriers, and we are accusing China of having, having some non barriers are basically, of course, obstacles. Okay, so there are certain import duties and etc. Okay, and all. So they have a high import duty, so we are unable to import to them. China puts conditions. Also, they put the condition under non. Okay, so that is tariff. Okay, which I talked about, import duties and all. But there are certain non-tariff barriers. Okay, which are not related to the duties and all. Like China puts the conditions like sanitary and phytosanitary requirements. So there needs to be a certain sanitary requirements. Okay, and that has been put by China. And if they are not there, so they are just not going to take the products. So in this way, they are just reducing the amount of imports. Okay. Also, India is upset about the in pharmaceutical engineering of goods, the enabled services, IT enabled services, agricultural produce, and we are not doing much business in these kind of areas, under the areas of like agriculture, of pharmaceuticals. We are not doing enough business. So India, these are the basic apprehensions, and this is all about the trade of India with China. And with this, we finish India-China relationship in part 1 plus part 2. You are advised to watch to both. This was the part 2. Part 1 is also there uploaded on my channel. Just go through it, and both the parts together complete the India-China relationship in depth. For whatever you have to write in mains, every topic is covered, keeping that perspective in mind. And I hope you guys liked this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Subscribe, I'm writing also. Okay, and I'll just see you all later, coming up with the next topic. So in next session, we will be starting up with India, Bangladesh, and we'll see that how many parts it would take to complete India and Bangladesh. I think I would be able to complete it in a single part, and then after that we'll be moving towards India, Nepal. Okay, and then India, Sri Lanka, and then finally India, Afghanistan we are going to do, and India, Myanmar also will see. And of course India, Pakistan is also left. That is very important. We are going to do that also, don't worry. Okay, but right now I'm just going to take the issue of, in the next video I'm going to take the issue of India and Bangladesh. Okay, so stay tuned and keep watching and keep liking, subscribing. It gives us motivation. So thank you so much guys. Have a very nice day. Stay safe, stay healthy. Bye.